trust is very important because there's a tendency for coaches to micromanage her team.
I would actually like to introduce you to Ivy. She is the operations manager of my business. We have been working together for 6 or 7 years now, where, she started as a virtual assistant.
It's going to work really well if you're going to treat your team like a family. Give full trust to your team so that they could operate and they could be proactive.
So if you could give one most amazing next level final piece of advice to anybody out there, what piece of advice would you give?
I think the most important one that I could give them is to
Cosmic Money, the podcast, the strategy and energetics of seven-figure business.
Hello, gorgeous beings, and welcome to today's podcast, Cosmic Money, the strategy and energetics of seven-figure business. I'm obviously Skye Hanley, and I'm actually probably the most excited I've been to have a guest here with us today. I would actually like to introduce you to Ivy. Yay. So Ivy, Ivy is actually many things in my existence and my life. She is the operations manager of my business. We have been working together for 6 or 7 years now, where, she started as a virtual assistant and very much over that time, we have just built up such a relationship together and such a amazing work ethic and a mission and a business together. Because at the end of the day, and everyone, I want you to hear this, and I want you to know that I don't say this lightly. I simply would not be here today if it wasn't for Ivy. I wouldn't have the business that I have. I wouldn't have the success. I would not have the sanity. And so she knows this, and it gives me goosebumps to say it still every single time because she's heard me say this a lot. She knows I love her. And what I wanted for all of you today, those who are sitting here and listening to this podcast, is for you to gain a really interesting and different perspective. Because it's one thing for me to bring in, seven-figure, multi-seven-figure, eight-figure coaches, and for you to hear from their perspective, how they've built up their business across time and space. It is another thing to hear from a team member who is literally in there, boots on the ground, living and breathing the mission, that I live and breathe every single day. I truly believe this ecosystem is here for us all, Ivy, myself, our team, and obviously our gorgeous clients who we serve every single day. And so, that's kind of why I thought this is a really great opportunity to hear the perspective from somebody else who is within the ecosystem, but is slightly removed, like just enough, from it to give you that different perspective, because our roles within this business are very different. And I think it's awesome for you to hear that. So, hello.
Hi. I'm so excited, very, very excited, everyone, to be here and to share this precious moment with all of you. And that actually gave me like a tear or two. I wanted to cry for all of those things that you said. And I'm truly, truly excited to be here and to give my insight or to help people, just like what I do every single day on a mission, every single day, 24/7 with you.
So yeah, amazing. So I asked Ivy to create a few points from her perspective of, what it has meant over this time, what guidance she would give, other people out there building businesses, building teams, and those kinds of things. But I actually have a few questions for you. First, Ivy, I'm going to put you on the spot. So I actually remember the first time that I realized we were a we. And I know that sounds really weird. And I think this is important for a lot of people, out there building their businesses and listening, because, I knew I had a dream and I knew I wanted to start a business. And I knew that, for so long, I was the only one working within that business. And I knew that I had to wear all the hats, and I knew, all these different things. And it was very like, me, I, just by default from building a business to a point where I could then bring on team. And that was but it still actually probably took me, I reckon it could have been another year or 2 years. And I literally remember one of the moments where I think one of our clients was going through something, and if they are going through something, then I'm probably fucking going through something as well, because, it's an emotional roller coaster. Absolutely. And I completely negated the fact that you would be going through it as well. And in that moment, I think, you saw a conversation that I was having with one of our clients that was tough, and that was emotional, and that was moving. And I think you messaged me, and whatever it was that you said, it literally took me back and took me by surprise. And I realized in that moment that I was not an I any longer, and that I actually hadn't been looking at us and we and our ecosystem from that perspective. And even the fact, throw myself under the bus, that, I, as a leader, I didn't take into consideration that you would be feeling as much as I was feeling, and because you were as bought into the vision, the mission, and the people as I was. So I'd love to hear from you, like, what your perspective, or what your transformation moment, or, how we got to that point, in your view, because it hit me like a friggin' freight truck that day. And I went, oh my God, I have not even been considering or looking at it from that perspective.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I definitely remember that moment. And I was browsing on your conversation in Messenger, and I spotted this message. And because I made it a point that I would know everything that's happening on that Messenger, and so that I would be able to help them, with the perfect solutions, or the things that they were looking for, like resources and all that. And I spotted that message, and it hit me real hard, like, I was thinking when I first started working with you, this is just work. I'm going to be here with you only for the paycheck. I'm not going to do anything. No emotions involved. And that is totally untrue. Like, after a few months of knowing you and knowing your clients, listening to your message, because you asked me to watch your videos so that I would learn what you want me, what your message is all about, and how would you like to help people. And I was listening every single day with all your videos in all your masterclasses and webinar. And then I found myself like agreeing to every single thing. And I was started to see the entire picture of what you wanted for your client to have. And then I started to feel like a family, I started to feel love and concern and compassion for all our clients, not just simply, I want to get this sale and that's it. It doesn't end with that, but it started to get deeper, like that particular conversation hit me real hard, because I found myself really sad about what's happening, and I wanted to get out of the screen and give them a big hug, like, come on, everything is gonna be okay, we've got you, and all those things. And it gives me goosebumps, honestly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wanted to cry, actually. But that particular situation, that made me realize that I am not just a virtual assistant. I am a part of this business. This business is not only Skye's, but mine too. And these clients are not just our clients, and we are not here for the sale. We are sincerely, sure, we really wanted to help them grow and achieve their success. Their success is my success. Actually, I celebrate more than they do. That's true, really. And I feel really proud of what of what they have become, who they have become throughout their journey. And it's not just business wise, but also personal in their personal lives.
Yeah.
A lot of our clients become my friends, personal friends.
Yeah.
And they never forget me, greeting me on my birthday, asking me how I was, something like this. And I really appreciate that. And
Yeah.
maybe
What do you think? Let me ask you
Yeah.
then. What do you think? Because like this, this isn't even just about you and I, right? It's like how do we bottle, what it is that you and I have had to journey over time and that we've worked out and, and that we've gotten right and we've gotten wrong and stuff like that. So what would you put that down to in terms of like, what is the key things that had you click into being within the mission and like feeling as if, this ecosystem is ours and, and it actually being, like a team effort and that kind of stuff? What would you put that down to?
I think it's very important to be genuine, like creating real connection, especially nowadays in social media. A lot of people would say, I can help you with this and I can help you with that. I can give a lot of promises. I can give you 1,000 promises, but that is not connection. Connection is heart to heart, soul to soul. You need to understand what they're going through. You need to feel that you are aligned with them, that you believe in their capability, in their skills, in their messages. I think it's very important because that's what I've learned in 7 years of doing this business with you. I have come to understand that authenticity is very important. People, clients would feel if you are really concerned with them, if you are sincere when it comes to helping them. You would feel we cannot do like, this is my message, but these are my actions. Like a total conflicting, polar opposite thing. Because clients would get confused, and a confused client would never buy. So we need to understand their perspective, their pains. We need to understand that, and we need to be really sincere when it comes to helping them. I think that is very.
And it's such a great point. So let me give my perspective on what it is that you're saying, right? Like to quantify it from an organization and an operational standpoint. So there's a couple of things. Number one, what you're speaking to is our core values, like as a business, and our two major core values are courage and connection. And everything that we do within our organization, how we support people, where we show up and serve, all of this stuff is connected to, courageous action and also like connection and compassion and that kind of a thing. And so from the operation organizational standpoint, let's put that hat on for a second. A couple of the key things that we've journeyed over time is that have helped with this is that, number one, I had to relinquish control. There was definitely a time frame where Ivy was working in the background, and not the foreground. Because I thought, no, she's doing all the, air quotes, admin stuff, and she's, maybe setting up some contracts, or she's maybe messaging some people or gathering information or getting me numbers and, all these different things, right? And so there was a time where it kind of like, business ran like that. And when I personally was able to relinquish further control and had so much more trust within Ivy to know that I could hand things over, which included her actively being in the forefront of the business, actively, directly speaking to our clientele and serving as well from her perspective and things like that. And to me, having that clincher, and doing it, from an operational organizational standpoint is one of those transitions where we went from, doing like business kind of next to each other. You did your bit, I did my bit, into actually it being more cohesive and doing it as a team, and me not having to choreograph everything, and greater levels of trust and all of these different pieces.
So I would like to add on that. I think trust is very important, because there's a tendency for coaches to micromanage your team, and I think you need to let go of that reign. To give full trust to your team so that they could operate and they could be proactive in give suggestions and how are you going to make it better with your team. It's not only your mind working, but it's also their mind working together, and that would give you less problem, less worries, because everything is clear.
And that's what's so great about like what we've been able to build to, where, you being the operations manager now means that I get more freedom of time and freedom of brain space, and I get to focus on the pieces that, are the best use of my time and energy. We have a saying around our parts, which is, everybody has a seat at the round table, right? Like there is no hierarchy. And so, the ability to plug in somebody like Ivy, who, yes, was like a virtual assistant who, has grown into being this amazing mission-driven unicorn rock star, right? Now, like these days, operations manager, which actually means she is running team, And so for me to be able to have a bit of a stop break between me and the daily operations and all of the little finer details and all of the questions and things like that, enables further scalability and growth. And so one more thing that I will say to the point that you just made, Ivy, is that within our team, because again, there are, gosh, how many are we now? 5, 6, 7, me included, and so with our team, we're really big on like innovation, and it's very easy for me to go into dictatorship because I have a lot of ideas. I think very quickly. Stuff is always moving, And so again, I had to learn myself to take that step back. And what I found was that allowing for innovation and allowing for an amount of freedom and ideas, or exploration, even just time for my team to go and do research and come back with, the top 5 things that they've learned, actually, ended up being so much better than anything that I could have, fabricated myself, with my limited knowledge. It really started to build that dynamic where we're all taking self-ownership and responsibility for our individual parts within that ecosystem. And I think we're very lucky, I think you would agree, Ivy, that our team literally loves each other. But it takes intention. It takes intention to build something like that. And it has been intentional, and it has, trust and freedom and connection and, leaning into people's strong suits and not wronging them for something that maybe isn't there, within their frame just yet, and things like that. Yeah. What would you say to all of that?
Yeah, that's totally true. And I want to add something like,
I've spent my life obsessed with the strategy and energetics of 7-figure business. I've literally traveled the world trying to crack the code. And what I've found is that when you couple the pursuit of making massive amounts of money with the strategy and science of success, plus having a desire for significant impact and contribution, magic happens. That's why I created a free 21-day next level vortex money mission magic. Hell yes to that. This 21-day quantum business challenge is here to shift you into new timelines and realities. 21 days to quantum shift your impact, business, and your bank account. These carefully crafted and channeled tools are the exact things I've used to create a life beyond my wildest dreams, and I'm not done yet. If you're ready for incredible transformation now in all areas of your life, more money and financial freedom, freedom of time, freedom of lifestyle, freedom of choice, better, more connected relationships, greater levels of health, and simply calling in more magic into every single day, then these 21 days are going to blow your mind. 21 days of powerful universal, behavioral, and strategic tools to quantum shift your internal state so that you start to see massive changes in your external reality, bringing the metaphysical into the physical. Join the challenge now and get ready for the most powerful 21-day expansion to quantum shift your impact, business, bank account, and your life.
Cosmic Money, the podcast, the strategy and energetics of seven-figure business.
Like you're it's gonna work really well if you're going to treat your team like a family. Like you are interested to know the human that they are, their personal lives, not only the things that they do in your business, but also them as a human being. And that creates a very strong bond between the members of the team. And I think it's a beautiful relationship that we have. So, yeah.
Would you say as well, that makes me think of something else. Would you say as well that it's important to be like fallible? Because everything that you're saying, like bless Ivy for being so gorgeous. I honestly think these are some of the things that I am worst at. Like, and this is full disclosure because I want everyone out there to understand that, as I said before, it takes intention. It takes thinking about, but it also takes like introspection where, you sort of go, okay, well, what are my strong suits and what am I really not good at? And so for me, within my team, we know that sometimes I will skip over things. I forget to stop and I forget to be human for a minute because I am thinking about the next action. I am thinking about the thing we've got coming up and what I need to do and where are all the pieces and, and whatever else it is. So, with that, I think that, again, being able to be fallible, being able to be vulnerable in front of your team and come to them when you've fucked up and when you've made a mistake. I still make mistakes. We're 7 years in and I literally apologized to my whole team about a week ago. And it was genuine because it took me like 24 hours to realize that we had this win, but I was so focused on the prize that I hadn't even stopped to thank and celebrate all of them for the portion that they all played. So I really, that's my perspective, right? With that, Ivy, do you feel that across time and space, me being human as well and being fallible and being able to show up in my vulnerability and my non-perfection and having a meltdown on the odd occasion, like has benefited the growth of us being a team that works together and that isn't this hierarchy and, that kind of thing?
Definitely. Every time there is something like this, like last week you forgot, to like you said,
I'm a big jerk. It's fine. We win. Yes.
No, not like that. But every time you have this moment, and then you will message us about how you celebrate each and every one of us. It gives us this sense of like a power, like drive, like, okay, let's do this more. Like, let's do better than this, like every time you appreciate us, and it gives us this drive, this push to do better and to make it, like exactly how you want it. And during the times when things are like you want to give your perspective, your points, and all that, is that we do not we take them from, we look at it from a different perspective. It's never negative. Like, okay, I think, for example, if I did something and you have this, you need to criticize this work and you don't like this and blah blah, instead of sulking and feeling sour about it, I would like, okay, I think this is the mistake that I did. Okay, I will have to do it again. And then we're going to have this team meeting, like we're going to brainstorm how can I get this better? What do you think of this? So I think this is very powerful because it makes us feel that you are human, and you know that you are not perfect. You know that you are not always right. And that and that vulnerability actually make us feel more proud to be one of your teams, to be in your business.
And I think, like I again very actively ensure that I promote team thinking that is around, like, number one, being solution focused. And also, I think you bring up another really great point about, what we call business data, right? And so it's just business data, you guys. Sometimes it's just business data. But if your team doesn't understand that, then they may take something personally, and when it isn't actually a personal thing, and it's okay. I can say to Ivy, I'm like, I really don't love this, and all that means is I really don't love this yet, which means that it's on the way, or we need to get somewhere, or we've still got some tweaking to do. But, them also, like my team, having an understanding that, that it's not a personal thing, that we are all working together. And also, I even say to them, please, and again, everyone out there listening to this, please adopt some of this, whatever it is, methodology, thinking, team building, whatever feels aligned for you or feels like an edge that you could potentially do better. Because let me tell you something, as I said a minute ago, I honestly think this is some of the stuff that I'm the worst at, right? But if I've been able to clunk my way through this, if I've been able to, build a beautiful team dynamic, if I've been able to celebrate the wins and stop and relinquish control and, integrate innovation and, all this different kind of stuff, I promise you can too, right? And it is so important that you do, because this sounds terrible. We sometimes forget that our team are human as well, right? And so if you in your business, and I'm speaking very directly to the business owner right now, if you sometimes take things personally, or if you sometimes feel things deeply, you could only hope in some way that your team also feels that, really. So you've got to remind them, that it's okay. And you've got to remind them that, we're going to find a solution. And you've got to remind them that it's not personal, right? Because that helps to build the beautiful team dynamic for sure.
That's right.
Gorgeous being. It is truly my honor to have you here joining me on this co-created adventure through the strategy and energetics of seven-figure business. However it is that you landed here, whether we know each other personally or professionally, whether a friend shared this podcast with you as they thought you might get something out of it, or whether you stumbled across me by sheer accident or divine intervention, I want to thank you for being here, and I want to ask you a little favor. It is my joy to do what it is that I do every single day. And so if you have received anything here, a piece of magic, a strategy, a mindset shift, something that has transformed you in some way, I ask that you share this podcast with others so that together we can transform the world for the better. One business, one human, one frequency, and one podcast at a time. Cosmic Money, the podcast. The strategy and energetics of seven-figure business.
So what's another point, Ivy? What else have you got that you think is one of the most core fundamental things that, any business owner should understand from a perspective of, somebody within the team who's also acting, and is part of making the dream work?
So speaking of team, I think one of those core advices that I could give is get a reliable team. Somebody or people who would be on board with a mission with you. People who believed what you believed in. Because that would create a sense of purpose for everyone. Like I said earlier, I mean, at the beginning, I was not on a mission with you. Yeah, I just needed a job and I needed a paycheck, and that's it. But when you get to be on a mission with your business and your belief and your mission, once I get on boarded, I got a better understanding of the things, and because of that, we created better coordination, right? Better coordination. effective communication, increase productivity. Because if your team would just be here only for the paycheck, they would never care what happens to your business. They would never care what happens to your client. But once they are on a mission with you and they treat your business as their own baby as well, they would do everything in their power to take care of it. So,
And so to do that, you have to involve them in the mission.
exactly.
Right? Like you have to build the vision with them. You have to let them know what the values are. You have to, feel into what's important to them as well, like what's important to you, right? And that, again, takes intention. I feel like that's the lesson of today. Intention, right? Like, because it does, it takes intention to build a mission. And what you're speaking to as well, like one of the early things that I did was bring you in on my trainings so you would see what it is that we're talking about, how it is that we're serving, who we're serving, how I talk about the things. And by proxy, the accident of that was that I think, being a coach, some of my coachness started rubbing off on you, and you believe the things that I was teaching, and you expanded yourself and your own capacity and your own vision, amongst all of that. And that could only happen by us working together, yes, but me bringing you along the journey as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I totally agree.
So if you could give one most amazing next level final piece of advice to anybody out there who is like, wanting to go to multi-6-figure and 7-figure business, the strategy or the energetics of it all from your perspective, what piece of advice would you give?
I think the most important one that I could give them is to not be scared of change. I know change could be scary. I know, but nothing, change nothing and nothing would change. Like you will get the same result as you have right now if you're not going to do anything. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think change is not just always negative. Change could also mean innovation. Change could also mean business trends and technology. Change could also mean clients' preferences, right? Along the way, things change. So don't be scared to step up, to up-level yourself, to scale and grow. Don't be scared. As long as you have somebody who would be there for you, someone who's got you, like whatever happens, somebody who would believe in you. But as you go for change, do not change your belief. Do not change what you stand for. Because this is your guiding light. This is your compass. Your belief should not be changed. Other things could be changed. Maybe your business model could change, and that's okay. But as long as you have this firm belief of what are the things that you stand for, because I feel like change is kind of like a wind, the business is kind of like an ocean or something, and change is like a wind that propels you. And yeah. And
there's an amazing saying that's from God, I think it's Charles Darwin. That, and I'm going to forget it. Let me just hang on a minute. It's that change is inevitable.
Yeah.
It's those who adapt fastest that survive. And it's really important that within our businesses, we know what portions of our business should change and should flow, and, and where we can relinquish and allow, and, all of those beautiful things, and where we have that variety, and where we expand our horizons, and where we step into the edges. And also, as Ivy's speaking to as well, the core fundamental things that should, in fact, stay solid and true. And that is your belief. That is having a mission-driven team around you. That is having certainty and directionality, but we should not be scared of change.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Amazing, Ivy. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Like, I know you know this because I make it very well known, to you often enough, and we both nearly cry. But, my sanity over the years is purely in your hands. That, and I want everyone out there to really please understand this. I simply would not be where it is that I am today if it wasn't for this lady in front of us right now, for Ivy and all of the amazing work that she has done, for all of the tears, for all of the celebration, for all of the, everything, the meltdowns and breakdowns and breakthroughs we say and all the rest of it. Like, we truly have journeyed this together, and I am, as much ego as I have, I am not so delusional to think that I have done this by myself, or that it doesn't take a village, because it truly does. And I am so fucking honored in this lifetime that you get to be part of my village, Ivy, and I absolutely love it.
Thank you. I absolutely love it too. And I'm very, very thankful for this opportunity to speak for the many people. I hope our message gets there. And I hope you get to invite me again. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you. Bye.